This is Dodging Death with Stephen Williams Jr. and Ryan Patton.
I was doing some work on the... Are you all right there, Paul?
I feel like if I'm not looking that way,
Yeah.
I've literally got the mic like, in my face. Like, close to me. This big black foamy thing coming up my face.
If you didn't say foamy thing, I got very excited there, Paul. I was like, oh, this is a bargain in that case. Anyway, so I arrived back. We'll just start. Welcome to the show, everybody. We are in a new premises. If you're just listening, we are... Paul, stop messing with this stand.
There we go.
Okay.
I'm ready.
I'm pleased you're ready, Paul. Now we can start. So for anybody just listening, we are videoing the podcasts now. So we've got a swanky new studio, which I arranged this beforehand, and I sent you to...
Of course it was you that was
arranged.
Yeah, of course. I mean, this was not mine and Paul's idea.
This is not your domain, this.
I only remember we were doing this like half an hour ago, so... I was on my way home from work.
So I sent a photo of this place to our WhatsApp group. And you both were like, okay, looks great. Mm-hmm. It's an all-white studio, and you've both turned up wearing white tops. It's like I'm talking to two floating heads here.
Me and Paul wants to make like an artistic project.
Yeah, Dodging Death is not an artistic project. It's us chatting shit for an hour on a weekly basis.
The feature's going to be me and Ryan just stood against the wall, and the listeners have got to identify where we are.
What body shape are we doing?
Like a hole in the wall.
You can just take your top off, Steve.
Did I mention I've just been in Greece? It was? Oh. Anyway, so, yeah, I arrived back today. Mm-hmm. And on the flight, I like to use flights to get a bit of work done, you know? So I had my laptop out, and I was going to listen to some music in the background. So I put on Les Mis, of course. Yeah, that was my go-to.
Very on brand.
Very on brand. So I had my headphones on, and I press play, and I start typing, and I'm like, something's wrong with my headphones here. So I'm like messing about with it, you know, trying to get it along.
With this pose, it's as though like these were the headphones that you had on the flight. And you want to record Band-Aids. I imagine it wasn't quite these.
No, these are too slick for me on a plane. So, yeah, I was like kind of messing about with my headphones. Unfortunately, I had not fully plugged them in to the computer. So the whole plane was hearing Les Mis play. And the song was Do You Hear the People Sing?
A rallying cry of the plane. I actually had something similar, but very embarrassingly.
Was it with Les Mis?
It wasn't with Les Mis. So
What a shame.
Was it on a plane?
No, it was on the train home from
I feel
work.
like this isn't very similar.
No, listen to what happens.
Okay, go on.
Because they've changed the Android plugin, haven't they? So like
we are both iPhone users, Paul, so I've got no idea.
So the jack that you used to use has changed with the new Android phone.
Okay.
So
is Huawei Android?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
How are you getting on with this? With the developments of Huawei?
I'm just choosing to
are you
ignore
nervous?
it. No. I'm just being ignorant.
I feel like that's what you should do with all of life's problems. Bury your head in the sand.
I don't need to go to the doctors.
Absolutely not.
Just a bit of blood doesn't matter.
I had the curry last night. It could be anything.
Okay, so you're on the train.
I'm on the train.
Are we talking a Merseyrail?
Well, the Merseyrail, like commuting home from work.
Okay.
And you had just sent me the audio files for the new for the Rick's new clips. And I thought
Rick's new clips.
Yeah.
So, okay, I'll explain what I sent you.
I'm going to say, can someone explain it to me as
Yeah,
well?
so our voiceover man, Rick, he emails me a package every now and then of like our upcoming features.
Yeah.
So I forwarded it to you.
Yeah, so I thought...
Because I don't want you to know what our features are, Paul. So you don't get the messages.
The pro that I am, I thought I'd listen to this on the way home from work.
Yeah.
And,
Not enough of a pro to consider what you're wearing today. But nevertheless.
Like I said, an artistic project. I think this will look great. a floating head, floating head podcast. Yeah, so I'd listened to this new feature that he recorded.
Yeah,
but I'd not properly plugged in.
You had the same. Oh
yeah,
no.
So it was the new audio jack. And
Okay,
it's like it can go both ways. It's dead.
I mean, can't we all?
Oh, the Julian Clary gag of the week there is in quite area. I thought in our new surrounds it'd take us a while to go back to the old formula, but no.
And just to confirm, I cannot go both ways. I tried, the other was not for me.
Yeah, so
to be honest, I think it's disgusting.
So I thought I'd plugged in my headphones. I hadn't quite got it, but I was unaware of this. I thought I'll listen to the audio clips that you just sent over.
Yeah,
and it was Rick saying "Oh my Josh" in a stupid voice, and that played across the whole garage. I was like, oh god, I must look mad.
I imagine someone immediately Googled that to see if it was a thing. Like, what was he watching there? And what would have been funny is if the artwork for the podcast came up and they saw you.
Yeah.
Oh, hold on, is that
What would have been better if it was my feature when it was Hitler's Only Got One Paul.
Oh god, yeah.
Being outed as a Nazi on the Merseyrail garage. The guards would kick me off a Kirkdale.
We are going to come back to one of your features later, Paul. Your competition that you ran.
Oh
yeah, we'll come back to that later. So on this flight back, the whole Les Mis fiasco had just happened. Very embarrassing. And then the guy next to me chuckled a bit, and I'm very self-conscious at this point. Yeah. So the rest of the ride is quite uneventful. He falls asleep. It's noteworthy that I mentioned that. It's important for you to know. Yeah. Your scoff there made me think this is an irrelevant bit of information. So when we land, he'd slept this whole flight. We ran with a bit of a crash. He screamed louder than anyone I've ever heard. And everybody else must have thought, what's happening with those two?
It's never a good advert for an airline.
For Jet2.
When you land with the crash. I don't imagine that's going to be the slogan. Like dodge and death.
They'll use this clip of the show.
He might have had a nightmare at a very unfortunate moment. It's like, I've never had a nightmare while sleeping on a flight. How embarrassing.
I happen to know Paul from one of our lads' holidays. As I always say,
that sounds very unconvincing coming from you.
Well, as I always say, it's in my ill-advised stray years. That you talk in your sleep.
I do, yeah.
Yeah, it's very concerning, Ryan. It is, because that I don't know what you do in that situation. I didn't shake him. I just ran to the corner, absolutely terrified.
What was the content of?
I was telling Steve to stop. And then when he ran to the corner and you woke up, it just looked weird.
He knew he was safe then. You were his muscle, Ryan.
It can be anything. It can be like my mum said she's walked past my room in the night and it's been like a different language.
Oh
or
dear.
Just like random words.
Are you sure you haven't just had an intruder?
I feel like you're never saying something normal, are you, when you sleep talking?
I was listening to something today on the radio about why you sleep talk and why you sleepwalk. So we'll come back to that in Discover State.
I thought you were about to launch into it then.
I was, but then in the back of my mind was like, I've got nothing planned for the Discover State. So
had you got anything planned?
Like, don't waste this opportunity.
So this most recent trip was around Greece. And quite a mad thing happened. One of the ports was in Mykonos. Mm-hmm. First of all, the idea of me being in Mykonos makes me stiff with stress. It conjures up images of me being on an episode of, Son, Sex and Suspicious Parents. It's not a great look for me. But anyway, so I'm wandering the streets of Mykonos and I need to go to the toilet. And I see a sign for a public restroom. So I go, this could be the one.
Are they ever really clean though?
Well, that's very concerning. Yeah, I might bump into Boy George in there or something. So I went to this one because otherwise you're like loitering outside a Starbucks toilet then you try and get in. So I went there, and as I'm approaching, I see this woman sat outside on like a deck chair, like some garden furniture. I'm like, oh, this is a bit mad, this. So I approach with caution. And as I go to enter the toilet, she suddenly like leaps in front of the door and blocks the way.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And she says, 50 cents. 50 cents. She just keeps repeating it. So suddenly...
Surely after the first time of saying it, you knew what she meant and she didn't have to keep repeating it. You just stood there bewildered, like, what?
She was a fan of the rapper.
Well, I was just so taken aback at this because it was very clear she did not work for the local government.
Yeah.
You know, this is not an actual job.
It was a side hustle. Genius, though.
Well, it is. But then I went in and was like, was that almost a mugging that just happened there? What is that, you know?
Because there's nothing you were never going to question her in that situation. You were in a vulnerable situation because you were in need to go to the toilet.
Yeah, I was.
That's the perfect time to attack. Credit to this woman in Mykonos.
She also picked the perfect target as well.
Yeah.
The least rowdy man in Mykonos.
Maybe she's listened to the show.
She just wanted a coffee and a poo. Nothing more or less.
But to be fair, that is quite genius, that, isn't it?
I mean,
as ruses go,
it's a very good ruse. Yeah.
Do a lot of people do that with like parking things as well, where like they just
well, I've told this story on the show
about a car park where someone
a homeless man. No, so what happened? I'll tell it again.
Paul obviously didn't listen.
Yeah. Not only did he not listen, he was in the room at the time.
It gives a new dimension to the story with the video format as well.
Well, what's nice is Paul is often zoned out and on his phone as we record. He can't do that now.
I've gone many times to grab my phone or grab my Galaxy as well.
Yeah, if Hannah messages, you're not getting a response today. So I went to pay for parking, and this like homeless man came over to me and said, "Oh, where you've parked is free. You don't have to pay in this like particular location. You don't have to pay." So I was like, "Oh, thank you very much, sir." I had change in hand, so picture the scene. I'm holding change. I'm like, "Thank you very much. You just saved me the money." And he goes, "Oh, pleasure. You don't have any spare cash, do you?"
Yeah,
I'm like, fucked at this point. I've got to give it to him.
No.
Yeah.
Sorry, got no change.
Sorry, mate. And I also can't just give him a bit of it. I've got to give him the whole amount.
It's got to be the whole hog.
It does. Yeah.
Give him like £6.
What are you parking for £6, Ryan?
Oh. Well, I never use the car, do I?
Oh, that's true, yeah.
My car
you don't know how much parking is. A similar thing happened, actually. I'm going to tell a cruise ship anecdote.
Oh.
So there is, on some ships, there's a laundrette you can just use. So there's, half a dozen kind of washing machines and dryers in there, and you just do it yourself. But often they're really busy. At some times. It's a great place for gossip, actually. There's always murder going on. Even if I'm not doing laundry, I'm often seen in there, find out what's going on the ship. But it's really busy always. Uh-huh. So some guest, stroke of genius this, had clearly been on a million cruises. They printed their own out-of-order sign and stuck it to a machine.
Oh, wow.
Isn't that genius?
Oh, yes. Such a fan of that. Such a fan. That is brilliant.
Yeah. The most ingenious thing. I thought I'm having that.
I was going to say, you think after your million cruises you would have come up with something?
Yeah, I know.
Yeah, have you got any hacks, like life hacks?
I stole her sign.
Apart from that, the gossip is often in the laundry room.
You know what? If anybody's going on a cruise, if you take on your own alcohol, they take it from you. But if you take on boxed wine, the X-ray machine doesn't get it.
Oh,
yeah, but unfortunately, it does mean you're drinking boxed wine.
And also, if any of the authorities are listening to this, it's probably going to pick it up from now on.
Yeah, that's true, actually.
Oh, God, yeah.
And also, can I just say, I do not endorse that you do that. But yeah, so 50 cents, I did pay it.
Did you pay?
I paid. Yeah.
Yeah, see,
because I mean, also I couldn't just like shoo her out the way.
No.
She's just pissed on it. Yeah. I'll save me money.
Yeah. So what I've started doing is taking my own garden furniture and just sitting outside public toilets.
You'll make more than you do on the cruises. That's going to be your main source of income now. A toilet racketeer.
It was a very dodgy toilet. No automatic flush in that toilet.
Oh, is there not?
No, unfortunately not. No.
I encountered the automatic flush for the first time in my travels in Madrid.
For the first time?
First time, yeah.
Are you kidding?
Have you never been to an airport or
a hotel or literally
a toilet?
A toilet.
No, outside of your
automatic
house.
though.
Yeah, as in you just walk away and it flushes.
No. They have like. They have.
Oh, you're right, Paul.
No, I was struck by it when I encountered it in Madrid.
How long ago was this?
You can get your anals like that now as well, can't you?
Yeah,
as well, which
you
is
just
the same
you
way.
just walk away and it flushes.
Yeah, but I didn't expect that though in Madrid, because when I was in Madrid, I was looking for the button, and I was like thinking, I was like pressing the wall, thinking I was like gonna encounter like a loose tile, like Indiana Jones, something like that, a secret doorway, and then there wasn't. And then as I walked away, I was like,
this is the most baffling thing we've ever had. You know, Paul, a good Discover Stee is not some toilets flush on their own.
That was the first one I encountered. I didn't know this was a regular thing.
I feel like you've got to upgrade where you're going to the toilet, Ryan. If I'm in town, I always go to the toilet in the Hilton. That's my
your go-to toilet.
That's my go-to toilet. Yeah.
Can you just?
You can just wander in.
Oh.
Yeah. Because it's a bit more of a upmarket, classy toilet, isn't it? And in fact, next to my apartment, there is the is it a Radisson? I think.
Is
it Malmaison?
Oh, it's the Malmaison. It's Malmaison. Malmaison.
I'm suddenly Lumiere, the candelabra, between the beast. So, I mean, I'm talking this is next door to where I live. I'll often go there to the toilet instead. Because it's like bougie.
Yeah, but joy, the convenience of your own toilet trumps the bougie of the Malmaison.
Yeah, but I don't have an automatic flush, do I, Ryan? So, just a month ago, you came upon this.
Yeah, I'm very surprised.
Yeah.
Well,
so am I.
Yeah, I feel like I must be misremembering all the times that I have encountered an automatic flush.
Or because sometimes they're just like the sensor is just like a black dot on the wall sort of thing.
Yeah.
So if you press that, thinking that you're doing something, and as soon as you've moved your thumb away,
yeah, maybe
it's been an automatic one anyway. So you've just wasted your time.
I've confused the black sensor. I've always thought the black sensor was the flush.
I mean, it is, but
it's not though, is it?
Well, yeah, because that's what. Okay, we should discuss this off the air. I think.
I was about to say, surely in all the things you've talked about, toilets is the least interesting for the listeners.
I had an absolutely disastrous thing happen on the cruise, actually. God, so many terrible things happened to me.
This was a nightmare.
Yeah. I quit. I was like, this is too much for me. So on literally every toilet that's not automatic on the ship, the button is behind the toilet seat lid. So you have to close the toilet seat lid and press the button.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Are we still on toilet anecdote, Joe?
Apparently so, Paul.
Toilet chat is the theme of this episode. If we thought the visual thing would lend itself.
If this is your first time listening, it's not normally like this.
The theme isn't toilet seats, it's just shit.
Please do not have that as the review of this week's episode. So anyway, it's always there, but for whatever reason, I was just like not really paying attention. To the left of the toilet was an emergency, press in case of emergency button.
Oh, okay.
So I step away. I press that instead.
Oh.
Yeah.
No.
So suddenly there's an announcement over the ship, and like there's different like So star code is medical emergency, Bravo, there's all different things which mean that the crew...
Are you aware of all the lingo?
Yeah. I think it's actually a secret, these codes. I'm giving way too many cruise ship secrets here. So they're not going to say, fucking hell, there's a fire. They say some things so that the crew knows what's going on.
Yeah.
So anyway, I press that there's been an emergency in the toilet. I hear star code and I know it's for me.
Oh.
Yeah. So now I've got to I'm very panicked that the toilet's going to fine.
Yeah, you should have said whatever the fine thing is back, the fine code.
Well, that doesn't exist.
You need to invent one.
Yeah, but if no one else knows it.
Also, if I was a passenger on that cruise ship and I heard an announcement saying star code, I think I'd assume something bad's happening.
Yeah.
It's not actually like a smoothing things over, is it? Star code.
Yeah, I took a photo of the toilet and next to it the emergency button. So that will be on our Instagram page for this episode at Dodging Death Podcast. You'll see it. Just before we move on from toilets, I feel like I might as well finish this. With you only recently discovering the automatic flush, again, I'm flabbergasted.
I don't know where I've been. Under a rock to avoid
the amount of
automatic
anecdotes
flush.
I've told you about the Japan toilets.
Yeah, but
Did you think it was exclusively there?
Yeah, I didn't think that we had
we were
access
anywhere
to
close.
It. Yeah, because I've always said that our toilet facilities are in the dark ages.
I mean, they are in comparison, but
we still have the automatic flush.
Yeah, we do.
No, I think, though,
in abundance.
What Paul was saying with that, the black sensor.
Yeah,
I thought that was a flush that I was activating with the press, and I wasn't. So I've just been like a fool.
What concerns me now, though, is you're going to be in toilets where it's not a button, just waving in front.
Or worse, just walk out.
Yeah, I'm just going to assume nowhere's got a flush now. just leave a horrible present for everyone who follows me.
You've really got something against that hotel. But so as a word of warning, if you are going through this,
yes.
I will always make the nest, the toilet roll nest.
Go on. Explain the nest.
Well, so if I'm going to sit down, I'll take sheets of paper.
Yes.
And kind of cover the top of the basin so that I'm sitting on the toilet paper and not...
Okay, yeah.
Do you not do this?
No.
Oh.
I don't do that.
I just go right in.
Put my mark on it.
Yeah, unprotected.
Same shitting as another thing in Ryan's world.
I've not made this. I'm sure that's quite a common thing.
I think it is.
No, it is.
The nest.
I think it's more common for women.
Well, but we all sit down. Anyway, hello. So, I mean, if you don't do the nest, this is totally not right. For the listener's sake, the issue with the automatic flush is sometimes I'll make the nest, and it's perfect. It's perfectly covering every part of the seat, and then as I then go to turn round, it accidentally triggers the sensor of the automatic flush, and it just takes in the whole nest. But if you don't do it, that's not a concern for you, Ryan. So, Paul, we should come to your competition that you had. So this is probably the first bit of content you've actively brought to the show, Paul. You'd arrange this.
I brought Ping Pong Paul.
There was Ping Pong.
There was Ping Pong Paul.
I've done another feature as well.
I mean,
a day in history.
A day in history.
Yeah, that's true. I might have been being harsh there, Paul.
I think he was being very harsh.
I mean, we are 20 odd hours in. And you've got those three things. But nevertheless, so your competition was that you wanted people to guess how much you were going to spend in the cinema going to see Toy Story 4.
Yep.
And what was it? What was the items that people had to guess for?
It was 2 large ice blasts.
Yes.
A large regular popcorn and a large nachos.
Okay. So for the previous 2 episodes, you've been trailing this competition. Now, the listeners might remember a few weeks ago, we had a competition to win a pillow with Ryan and my face on.
Yes.
And outrageous number of people entered to win this competition.
Understandably so.
Yeah, like just such a shocking amount of people wanted that pillow. So you pitched this idea, Paul. How much did it come to?
It's a very boring boring
God.
See, I was tricked by the sales assistant.
Oh no, why?
Because she gave me the offer. She gave
Yeah, there was
she
like a
done me
deal. A deal for those exact items.
We said the terms and conditions. You don't take the deal.
You're not allowed to take the deal.
You had to refuse the deal despite the sales assistant pushing it upon you. You said, no, I want to pay more.
I'm a sucker for a deal, though. This podcast is not worth the extra £1.42 that I would have had to pay.
You've got to think of the integrity of Dodge and Death, Paul.
The £20, which it was, the £20 offer.
It just came to £20.
£20, exactly.
Oh, Paul. Oh, what a depressing number for it to have come to.
It's a family deal.
Oh no!
That's such a round number.
Though.
Yeah, that's like the most round number. There's a perfect. There's a note border and everything. You just give the one note and you get nothing in return.
But a hint of slumming. Well, anyway, so it was your idea, this competition. Two episodes we've been trailing this. Mm-hmm. You didn't have a prize.
I've got a prize with me.
Well, unfortunately, Paul, had you have mentioned the prize previously, it might have excited people because not a single person entered. Like, to win a pillow, we had hundreds of people enter.
I feel like you're exaggerating these hundreds of people.
Oh.
No,
they came in a drove.
Like a shocking amount of people.
We've not got listeners in Uganda.
Yeah, we do. I should start telling you more about our listenership.
You say that I don't bring it up, but I don't get informed of anything.
Yeah, but then, these revelations come out on the show. You say listeners, it was like 0.14 or something, wasn't it? It was like such a small number.
The Ugandan listeners wanted the pillow. I stand by that.
I think they got about 40 seconds in and gave up.
Yeah,
they loved the references to Paul Danan.
I come away after the competition and I lay on my bed and I thought, no one's going to email him. I think, that was the most pointless statement. The world's most pointless game.
Waste of oxygen.
I don't even think Hannah emailed their suggestion in.
No, she literally we never had a single email on the basis of that competition.
Thanks, Hannah.
Yeah. So we should always just give away soft furnishings, it seems.
That's the demographic.
As long as it's soft and has our face on, people are just so excited about getting it.
Another thing about the train.
Oh, are we back in the train again?
Back on the train.
Okay. Off the toilet onto the train.
Yeah.
It wasn't the same journey that I outed myself as by listening to Rick's musings. But a different journey.
Okay.
A different cue.
It is a daily occurrence for you, this train. So.
And I get very bored on this. So the mind wanders.
Yeah.
And I often do a tattoo spot. And
as in you're on the prowl for tattoos.
Well, not on the prowl. It's because I always it's something that always fascinates me is why that person's got a tattoo. Because there's literally nothing that I feel so strongly about that I want permanently etched on my body.
It's a risk, isn't it? Yeah, it is a risk.
Because I always try and clock what tattoos people have got, and then think, wonder why they got that tattoo. My
friend Henry got his first tattoo was 2 swallows on his chest. Unfortunately, though, his nickname became Henry Swallows. Yeah, he immediately regretted getting it done. Anyway, so you're on the lookout for tattoos.
I'm on the lookout for tattoos, and then I spot this like middle-aged lady gets on.
Yeah,
it's on the
middle-aged lady had tattoos.
Yeah, that's what it
you know what? 2019.
She
can do whatever she wants.
Yeah. Being judgy, but it was one of those things that did the care to me.
I was like P.T. Barnum there, wasn't I? Let's get a tent.
She was on the train, but did she not have a man to keep her safe? but she had a lot of hand tattoos. So
the thing about the hand tattoo, it's very like Jake and Elwood Blues, isn't it?
Yeah.
Or she's wearing a black suit and sunglasses as well.
I feel you've got to exhaust every other part of the body before you go for the hands.
Yeah.
But she does seem as though she'd gone straight for the hands. There was
really?
No arm tattoos. It was just purely hands.
Yeah, but how much clothing was she wearing?
Well, you could see she was wearing like a vest.
Oh, okay.
So you could see a lot of skin.
Was it Top Cat? Just that vest.
But it was just like a random stuff, and then on like it was like the thumb between. It was an odd place for a tattoo.
Yeah.
It was between the thumb and the wrist, where the thumb meets the wrist. She had a name, and she had the name.
I feel like palm comes before then.
No, so it was like. I mean,
you know what? You can literally show the camera.
It was like here.
Okay, so you're talking like the muscle part of the thumb.
Yeah, which is an odd place for a tattoo. And
No,
also,
it is
quite tender as well. Probably is.
Yeah.
She probably had a bit of a dark streak to this middle-aged lady. See, this is the sort of thing you can fathom out when you're judging people's tattoos.
Yeah.
But the tattoo that she has was the name Dave.
Just Dave.
Just Dave, which...
Oh dear. I mean,
Sure.
even if you love Dave.
Yeah. You can be more imaginative than that, can't you? You get a pet name for Dave. You would, if you're going to have it permanently etched on your body, you're not getting a name.
Maybe that's just their favourite channel.
Yeah, she loves average comedy. Repeats a mock the week from
You should have told her about this show.
No, even our references will be more topical than the one that's on Dave. A lot of Blairite satire.
You'd at least have it done in like Chinese or something, wouldn't you?
Yeah, just anything to make it a bit more fancy.
Yeah.
But is that not worse, having it done in Chinese, and then someone comes up and it thinks it's like your star sign or something?
Yeah,
like,
something quite
what have you
fancy.
got on your hand there? And you're like, Dave.
Dave.
Oh, it's Dave, yeah. It's my husband. It's a lovely fella.
You know what? Actually, he's just all right.
Yeah, he's all right. Yeah,
He's just Dave.
yeah.
Have you ever known anyone called Dave other than just being all right?
yeah,
Absolutely not.
mild mannered. So you got a tattoo of me there, love. Thanks. Eh?
No, I reckon he didn't even mention it. He's yet to notice. I know, I've not asked you how your week's been, actually. So, Paul, how's your week been?
Yeah, it's been good. Come back from bed as well.
You always seem very deflated when I ask you this, Paul.
Because I feel like you used to always have like dead random things happening in your week, and I just go to work and come home and go to bed.
Seeing a woman with a tattoo of Dave on it wasn't random.
I feel like
That was just me being nosy.
I just go to work, come home,
Okay.
go to bed.
At like 7 o'clock.
Yeah.
Half 8.
I can see your eyes closed and everyone else can see it now.
No.
Well, what's funny is that earlier on he said he talks in his sleep as his mum's loitering the corridors. She's not in bed yet.
Yeah, she's going down to watch Corrie or something, like a very early soap.
She's gone down to watch The Chase.
So yeah, my week. I just come back from Benidorm.
I'm sorry to hear that. Why were you in Benidorm?
It's a stag do.
Oh,
The typical.
oh
that's the
the
dear.
typical
It's
Benidorm
classic.
retreat.
Oh
Yeah.
dear.
Yeah.
Okay, so whose stag do was it?
My
Oh,
brother-
is it Andy Hamilton?
Andy Hamilton.
The wedding of which we're going to next week.
We
Yeah,
are.
we are.
Yeah.
Well, you are, as am I.
Yeah,
Yeah,
as I
I
say, we are.
I might leave it. Give it a miss.
What happened to the stag do?
Yeah, so this stag do in Benidorm sounds very depressing to me,
I
Paul.
don't know.
Where did you stay?
Oh, we actually stayed in quite a nice hotel. We stayed.
Nice.
You say nice.
Oh, it was.
Was there a hint of a whisper of a spa there? I think not.
There was an indoor pool. There was. You got breakfast every morning. If you
Oh,
wanted
well,
it.
how was
Oh,
the breakfast standards?
I don't eat breakfast.
We've
do I,
spoken
so-
extensively about the hotel breakfast is never up to standards.
No.
To be fair, is
And
any
to be-
breakfast in Benidorm going to be up to standard?
Well,
your
we were just
standards?
bad-mouthing the regular hotel
Yeah.
breakfast. Benidorm hadn't even come into the mix
I know.
yet.
Even at the pantheon of hotel breakfast, as the spectrum, Benidorm is probably at the very bottom of the hotel
Yeah.
breakfast spectrum. Hard phrase to say, though. Hotel breakfast.
Repeat it for us, Ryan.
Hotel breakfast. Hotel breakfast spectrum.
Can you say it three
even
times?
after elocution lessons, I have to just struggle with that.
Go on, Steve.
Say it 3 times and hotel breakfast appears.
With a man in a striped suit. Okay, so you're in Benidorm.
In Benidorm.
How long does a stag do go on for?
You must have been on a stag.
I've never been on a stag
No.
do.
Have you never been on a stag do?
No, because
Many hen do's.
because I insist on the sash.
Yeah, you don't want to be upstaged.
Yeah, I insist on the sash, and I'm like, although it's your wedding, can we all get the t-shirt to my face on instead, please?
Walking around on a stag do with a massive cock, it just doesn't fit in, does it?
I hope you're not just calling me that, Paul.
I think that's what he was getting at, to be honest.
So, you're in Benidorm.
In Benidorm.
Yeah. So, as I say, how long?
Well, we went early Friday, come back early Monday.
Okay.
So.
I feel that's a manageable amount of time. That.
Yeah, it's not.
What
too
you
long.
don't want is a 2-week stag, do you?
No.
It's like that swingers cruise is a week long. It's too long.
Oh, that's far too
It's
long.
too
Surely
long.
the magic goes after like
Oh, it does.
3 days.
Yeah, when you're that red raw.
It becomes a drag after a while. Oh, I'm no longer enjoying this. I just need a bit of routine.
There's really only so much moisturising one can do.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
My fear is how much you know about this as well, and how.
So you're in
difficult it is.
Benidorm. Yeah. But just so the seediness of Benidorm anyway. How many people went?
But there was 9 of us.
Okay.
And then of Andy Hamilton's mates, there was about 19 of them. So.
Oh, God,
That's a hell of a amount of people.
Was the t-shirts made?
No, there's no t-shirts made. So Andy Hamilton was baldy head, dressed up as the only gay in the village off Britain.
Off Little Britain. I feel like you could have gone for a bit more topical there, Andy. Does he know it's not 2002?
That was his
Little
mate's
Britain
idea.
was surprisingly recent. We were talking about this the other
Yeah.
week. Like Little Britain, like David Walliams was blacking up in like 2011.
It's
and you're like,
scandalous, that, isn't it? How on
It's bizarre how
earth?
they got away with it.
Yeah.
But it's so recent though. Like,
Yeah,
I
that's
thought
unbelievable.
it was like 2002. When you look at it, it was 2010. I think the last one.
Oh my god!
Walliams.
And it's like so unacceptable. Wow. Okay, so you know what? Thank God, though, of all the characters, Andy went as the only gay in the village. It could have been worse. Okay, so he's there.
He's there.
Yep.
The only gay in who's there or he's there?
What?
What did you say?
What's going on, Paul? So 19 people plus you lot.
Yeah.
That's too many.
Well, I know. I would have happily gone to town with me and me dad and left Andy out of the whole thing.
And did you get up to like was the mischief?
Was the hijinks?
There was some. See, I don't really want to talk about it because it's.
Well, I
can see what you're leading me to here.
Because we want an anecdote from you, Paul.
There was a dwarf.
Oh no! Oh no!
I know it wasn't booked by me.
Oh, I tell you, Ryan, I'm very against the dwarf. I'm not against the dwarf. I'm against the idea that they'd hire one.
And I'm glad this is the visual medium because I can turn to the camera and shake my head.
You're not in an episode of The Office, Ryan.
No, I'm breaking the fourth wall. I'm Malcolm in the middle.
Yeah, it's better than House of Cards, isn't it? We can't say that now.
Oh, God.
You're going to tap the table twice. So you hired a dwarf, Paul.
I never hired a dwarf.
Okay, I like the way you're removing yourself from this act because, you know...
This is why I wouldn't want to go to a
couldn't
stag
stand
do.
by. I'd have had to have...
And I bet they didn't go to a speciality coffee shop either on this trip.
Is the one of those in Benidorm?
Oh, it's absolutely... Yeah, there's no hint of a quality bean.
I asked someone, can you do it in the V60?
Tell me the origin. Okay, so what is the going rate of...
Well, see, you're laughing and you're... I'm not
We're
laughing.
not. We're in shock.
You're offended or you're...
Yeah, we are.
outraged
We
at the
are.
use of the dwarf.
Very much so.
The dwarf got...
Dodging Death does not endorse the hiring of a dwarf.
The dwarf got £250 for the hour.
I mean, that's a lot of money, but he's taking a lot of demons home with him, though, isn't he?
Yeah, I mean...
Think of £250.
Think of the people he's encountering.
Yeah, I mean,
in his
for instance,
And
Andy Hamilton.
I hope he doesn't listen to this, by the way.
We're
forward
no
to the
longer be
wedding.
invited to the wedding.
It's going to be a great day.
Are you going to object during it?
Yeah, I'll have the dwarf with me. No, I won't, because it's not until after.
Yeah, I don't like this, Paul.
With the dwarf dressed himself up as a bride as well.
Oh,
Which made
no.
I was partly... My moral compass was very much spinning.
I reckon you got a photo, Paul.
I've got many a photo.
We shan't be uploading to the Dodging Death Instagram page.
I feel like that compass, Paul, wasn't spinning that hard.
Out of solidarity with that this guy needs workers' rights.
Absolutely, yeah.
So I apologise if he listens.
Did you promote the show to him?
If you want to stay in touch with what's going on in my life, you can subscribe to Dodging Death Podcast.
If you don't feel down enough into this.
Yeah, you want to have more demons.
Shall we go into the feature?
Yes.
Ryan, you are going to take the reins this week.
Well, not we didn't script it as that way. And the way that we planned it, this was supposed to be Stephen's week.
It was.
However,
because initially we were calling this Stephen's Snack Attack.
We were.
But because I didn't plan it, now it's just Snack Ball.
And Right attack does not work.
No, it doesn't.
I like the camera being there for dramatic
I know,
effect.
you just gave that the most dramatic look.
Yeah, he did,
like
but it makes me very concerned as you do it.
I don't think it was really a dramatic moment either. Like you've just been waiting to make use of the camera being
Saying
there.
the word Ryan's snack attack is a dramatic moment, is it not?
I mean, as drama goes.
I don't have to stare into the camera.
No, because I have to improvise now. This whole feature on the spot, and it's,
Yeah, but to be fair, Ryan, we do this every week.
I know.
We make up a ridiculous game on the walk down.
It's still improvisation.
Okay.
It still adds a bit of a
it's not whose line is it anyway, Ryan.
It's had a bit of tension.
So tell us about the game.
Okay, so the game. So they recently released the survey of the favourite staff room biscuits.
Ooh, see, I'm not going to be very good at this though because
I
don't have a workplace. My workplace, the closest I get is an out of order sign.
This is why you'd have been the perfect host. But anyway, the circumstances dictated that we have to change the formula that we planned. So So
you found a list of the best or the highest ranked workplace snacks.
Yeah, based on a survey conducted by the National Biscuit Industry. That's made up.
Oh, yeah.
I forgot who's conducted the survey. But it's something the National Biscuit Industry would do. So
this morning.
Let's go with
is
that.
there such a thing?
The NBI.
Are you taking the piss?
Yeah.
Oh.
I have no idea.
I mean, you are working in the afternoon tea industry. You're essentially in that umbrella.
Yeah, if someone was to be aware of the National Biscuit Industry, it would be me. They'd be close colleagues.
Yeah, they would. You'd have regular email correspondence, wouldn't you?
Where we talk, discuss the minutiae between biscuits.
So because that doesn't exist, we do it on this show instead.
We thought there was a gap in the market. So the concept of the game is I am going to tell you a biscuit that features on the list.
Yeah.
And then I'm going to say another one, and you've got to guess whether it's higher or lower on the list. Does that make sense?
Okay, so it's higher or lower with biscuits?
Yes.
Okay.
I was trying to.
I feel like this is the reason the NBI doesn't exist.
They got sued.
Okay.
In a feature that we like to call...
You know what? At least it's different to our normal format.
You ruined the run into this.
Oh, have I trampled over it?
Yes, you did. Not only...
This didn't happen to Brucey, did it?
He was thrust upon hosting it, and then it gets interrupted when he's trying to ramp into the name of the game.
Apologies.
In a feature we like to call Snack Attack.
Paul, you heard what it was called a few seconds ago.
I much prefer the name higher or lower with biscuits.
In a feature we like to call Higher and Lower with Biscuits.
Okay, it can't be called that though because that's not what Rick recorded.
In a feature we like to call Snack Attack. So we're going to start with a Dodge and Death favourite. Well, I say favourite, it's one that it's featured on the show.
Okay.
The wagon wheel is on the list. Okay.
So a wagon wheel is voted in one of the favourite Office Space snacks.
Yes.
Where can you say where it came?
Well, I was going to tell you, but why not guess?
Okay, well, this list, how many are on the list?
Is this the top 10?
Are you going to make me look down at my phone and count?
Well, I assume it's not like an Excel sheet or something.
Does it not have numbers?
But
it doesn't
have. It's a screenshot, so I've cut off the cell. The cell with the numbers on the side. You're really not the most professional output here. I can count.
No, counting was just going to be very tedious for the listener.
I know, yeah.
Okay, so what do you want us to do?
So guess where the wagon wheel featured in the favourite staff room biscuits.
Yeah, but do you know the number?
I know the number, yeah.
Are we talking top 10, top 100?
Well, we've got to guess. Okay, I'm going to say...
Top 30. Okay.
Oh, it's top 30.
I don't know. It's a roundabout guess.
I'll say 17th.
Okay, I'll say... I don't know. It's such a depressing treat, isn't it? So I'm going to say it's 24th.
Well, I thought depressing treat as well. So I didn't expect it to feature whatsoever. It's actually 14th.
14th?
Close.
I've lost faith. Who have they got to take part in this?
I don't know who the NBA got in touch with, but they've got their contacts.
Okay, so that's 14th. This is our basis.
So that's your basis. That's the first card.
Or pH7.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That's an odd science reference from you.
Well, we found our neutral, and then we go from there.
But I just thought...
I didn't
you
know
were
you'd
always
remember-
terrible at chemistry.
I thought I was all right at chemistry.
I didn't think you'd remember the pH term.
No.
I didn't remember that either.
You didn't do triple science, did you?
No, you didn't. Me and Ryan did.
Can we stop having a go at Stephen here?
So anyway, the wagon wheel is
I've
our
suddenly
basis.
found out, Paul, how Ryan feels on a weekly basis.
I like the change of format with the video. The tables have turned.
The viewership, I've just seen genuine hurt.
I like the way, physically, the way you set it out as well. It's like you used to it on me.
We are interviewing you to see if you can continue hosting. Okay, so this is, what was it, 14th?
14th. So, is the Garibaldi higher or lower than the wagon wheel?
It has to be lower.
What's a Garibaldi?
A Garibaldi.
That was an unusual pronunciation, that, Paul. You rolled those R's there.
It's Garibaldi.
It's like a rectangular biscuit.
It's very dry,
It's very dry, but it's got a bit of sultana in there as well. And it's got like a sugar top. I'm a fan of it.
I don't know, because I'm not an elderly man.
Named after as well. Garibaldi was like a famous Italian historical figure, wasn't he?
Oh,
it's weird that's his
poor Garibaldi. Yeah. We don't remember what he did, but he's just got an awful baked good.
He's one of the main figures that united Italy, and his legacy is the biscuit.
I feel like to the Italians, he's probably got something else. Maybe a statue.
There'll be a statue somewhere. Probably rectangular.
I probably walked by it. Okay, so Paul, take my word for it. It's terrible. So okay. I'm going to say it's lower than the wagon wheel.
I'm going to say lower because I'm not a biscuit fan and I've never heard of it. So.
You are not going to fare well in this game, then, Paul.
But you are well versed in the sweet treat, though. So I feel like you're a good person to trust.
Yeah.
And on this occasion, it's true.
Oh yes.
Yeah, the Garibaldi is very low on the list.
Yeah. Okay.
I'd have thought lower.
Yeah.
What about?
Has it got a big finish, this feature? I'm not entirely sure how you're going to end this one.
We're just going to continuously go until we've exhausted all the biscuits on the list. No, we'll go until you go bust. Is go bust the correct term?
What are we?
No. We've got nothing.
There's really no basis for us to say it.
Well, I created this game now, so if you lose, you go bust.
But when do we lose?
Well, if you just get it wrong. So, for example...
We've just got it wrong.
You haven't. You went right.
Got it right.
Oh, apologies. We did get it right.
The Garibaldi is lower on the list than the wagon wheel.
Okay.
So now are we going back to a wagon wheel, or is this compared to the Garibaldi?
No. So we moved on. So imagine...
Do you not know the rules of higher and lower, Paul?
Imagine it's cards. Playing cards, decked out there. And we've moved on to the next one. just I don't know where I'm getting this from, but...
That visual aid was very handy, wasn't it, when Brucey did it? Okay, next on the list.
Okay, where do you think a stalwart biscuit, the Jammy Dodger?
I think that's much higher.
Much higher.
Yeah.
Much higher.
I think Jammy Dodger's top 5.
Top 5? No.
Jammy Dodger's top 5.
It's a classic.
No. Yeah, but... No, we've got so much better than the Jammy Dodger.
I'm not leading you anywhere. So,
I would definitely say higher.
Yeah, undoubtedly higher than Garibaldi. Is Jammy Dodger, was he like an old Londoner who got off the street? He got away with all sorts.
That is correct. The Jammy Dodger is higher than the
Garibaldi.
That is correct. The Jammy Dodger is higher than the Garibaldi.
Okay.
What about another?
Fellas, what are we doing with our lives?
Can I say bust now and we can go?
No. This is honestly, the game's going in a good place now. Okay. Good direction.
I mean, it can really only go up from here.
You've seen, remember a couple of weeks back, I mentioned the Choco Leibniz, and you scoffed.
We did scoff.
The Choco Leibniz features on this very list. Is it higher or lower than the Jammy Dodger? That is my question to you.
Lower.
Okay, let's rank this episode in comparison to all our others. Is it higher or lower? Okay, I'm going to say it's lower.
Is it lower?
I think the Jammy Dodger is like 4. So I don't think...
You think the Jammy Dodger is a staff favourite to Good Biscuit? Yeah. Well, I can confirm the Choco Leibniz is actually higher than the Jammy Dodger. You have went bust.
Thank God for that.
We knew it was higher.
No, you didn't. You scoffed when I said the Choco Leibniz. Choco Leibniz is actually top 10.
Top 10?
Yeah.
Oh, okay. Let's for like a bonus point. Guess what number 1 is?
Okay.
I think number 1...
The rich tea.
No, there'll leave a chocolate coating. I'm going to say the chocolate digestive, because it's like cheap and cheerful. It's always going to be in an office.
It's a good thought process.
Yes.
But I think you can get it. So that's a good thought process. What's an upgrade of the chocolate digestive?
Like a penguin.
Chocolate hobnob.
Chocolate hobnob.
Oh, yes.
Number 1 on the office sweet treat is the chocolate hobnob.
What's the top 5?
Considering he's just late in this game, you've got awfully interested in it in the past few seconds. Okay, so number 1.
Yeah.
Go for 5. Obviously, we know.
I know,
one
but the finale spoiled, and the chocolate hobnob wins.
Oh yeah, that's true.
I'll go from 5 anyway.
Should we imagine we don't know what number 1 is?
If you can feign some sort of do dramatic looks to the camera. See if you've got to use the visual aids.
Okay.
Number 5, the caramel wafer.
No.
Poor. Yeah. Number 4, the chocolate finger.
Oh.
I'm a fan of a chocolate finger.
Yeah, I'll tell you my issue with the chocolate finger. The issue with the chocolate finger is you open the wrapper and they're all exposed to the elements, then, aren't they? So people like rummage the grubby hands over them to grab them all.
They're very, very Moorish, and you can annihilate a box of chocolate fingers in like seconds.
Yeah, it seems like you're not a very team player then.
Oh no!
I wonder what the world record is for eating at a time taken to eat.
Let's find out.
Oh God! I didn't realise we were leading to another eating challenge. Fair enough.
Okay.
The third on the list, another classic of the genre.
Yeah.
The club.
Oh,
this is just horrendous.
The club's interesting, not because there's Mint Club.
Is it?
So you just like in this game, you go on, I absolutely love it.
Types of club, though, isn't there?
There's going to be studies written on this list. Analysing what was said in this episode.
I'm shutting down what Paul's saying about the club now. We should move on.
We haven't got for number 2.
Yeah, that's when we move on to the next.
Number 2 is the Kit Kat.
I'll take the Kit Kat. I'll take it.
Again, no.
Chunky?
No.
Not calling you that, Ryan. Finally, the gag works. I attempted that gag a few weeks ago and it backfired drastically.
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah. Oh, yeah. You got chunky confused with crunchy.
Yeah, I did, yeah.
And then number 1. Number 1 is...
What could it be?
I can reveal. The chocolate hobnob.
I don't believe it.
Chocolate hobnob.
It's not that I can't believe it's the hobnob. I can't believe we're still talking about this. The feature is still going.
That is the end of Snack Attack, which, despite its name, was not snappy at all.
No. Please don't unsubscribe, everybody. Please.
No. The Ugandan listeners are still they're still holding on. I think the Uruguayans and the Argentinians. They want more Snack Attack. They want to know what the whole top 30 is of the very British biscuits. That
I feel like they have no idea what any of those are. All right, I have just seen the time. Shall we go into our Discover Stee?
Yeah.
You don't seem hugely enthusiastic about going into it. You are more biscuit chat.
More mint club. We didn't talk about the different variations of club.
So I'll go first because mine somewhat relates.
That's fine. I feel like biscuit chat's over.
Now, unfortunately, what I'm going to say, you'll try and swing it back to biscuit chat. But Paul, you work with kids.
Yeah.
Now, you, I am sure, will be aware of the sugar rush that they have.
Yes, definitely so.
It's a myth.
Oh.
There has been a study done, very comprehensive study, and apparently the idea of a sugar rush is nothing more than anecdotal. And it doesn't happen. The actual fact, if you have sugar or kids have sugar, they don't get hyper. If anything, they feel fatigued. Yeah.
I'm not having that.
Well, you're debating science now, Paul.
Oh, because sugar is a
stimulant.
A stimulant?
It just makes you, if anything, drowsy. And if a kid, if they seem hyper, it's the fact that they've been given a lovely sweet treat. And are just excited about it.
Yeah, it's like placebo.
It's got nothing to do with the sugar.
Yeah, because the flavour's so nice, you just get a natural high from that.
You're just purely talking about yourself now, right? But if you give a kid like a cupcake, how exciting is it to them? So they're just thrilled about that. Got nothing to do with the sugar at all. Same with, if they say, if you're doing like a big run, have some sugar before, give you that energy. If anything, it's going to do you harm. Yep.
You're not told.
Give your kids as much sugar as you want, Paul.
Don't believe it.
Give them a mint club. Give them a honeycomb club. Give them an orange club.
What is your fact, Paul?
Well, we were talking before about sleepwalking.
Yeah.
Yes.
And why sleepwalking happens.
Okay.
Do you know why?
No.
I don't.
Because the part of the brain that controls like the special skills and the special sensory movement that adults and humans have, talking, walking, is overactive. So often during a heavy sleep, this part of the brain will come alive while the rest of the brain sleeps. And that's why sometimes in the night, that part of the brain will become active and you will start walking or talking while you remain asleep.
Oh.
I don't believe it.
my brother once, when he was a kid, he slept walk and he got dressed for school and got back into bed. Woke up in his school uniform.
What did you tell me about your dream once where you thought you'd broken your ankles?
Well, didn't he wake up with a limp the next morning?
No.
What happened?
So I it was the summer holidays.
Yeah.
And I had a dream that I broke my ankle.
Yeah.
And it was a very vivid
I'll tell
dream.
you, Martin Luther King's was better than that dream. You would not empower anybody with that, Ryan.
I had a dream I broke my ankle, and it was very vivid. And when I woke up the following morning, I could feel like a twinge in my left ankle, and because I'd not properly woke up, I was thinking, oh God, I can't believe this. I
can't believe I broke my ankle.
I believed the dream so much.
Yeah.
And because of the summer holidays, I was in the house on my own. And so I was thinking, how am I going to get up? And I was
starving.
So I was lying in bed for like 5 minutes, and I had this like twinge in my ankle, and then I kind of like switched on and went, how did I break my ankle? And I realised, I just got up out of bed. I was like, oh, you're fine. What an idiot.
And your one, Ryan.
So my Discover Steve this week.
Yes.
is I discovered that one Richard Madeley, Dodging Death
friend of the show,
he is an agony aunt for the Daily Telegraph.
No,
yeah. So some people
who goes to Madeley with their problems?
Yeah, like who ever needs Madeley? I know Madeley will have the answer to this one. bizarre appointment.
That's bizarre, yeah, crazy.
Me and my husband own a business that's failing. What should I do?
Madeley. I just want to put it out. You're not. Just that wasn't your letter.
Madeley's response was awful. It was so unhelpful, obnoxious even.
I was on Richard and Judy once.
I remember.
Yes.
Yeah. This is. It was when they changed over to the Channel Watch, wasn't it? You didn't quite make Channel 4 Richard and Judy. It was post scandal.
Clearly on Watch, the booking has gone downhill if I'm one of them. They're really scraping the barrel if they're like, let's phone Williams.
It was during the halcyon days at Tricky TV season 3, wasn't it?
Yeah, and Tricky TV are just on a BAFTA. They bring me in. So I was in the dressing room, of Richard and Judy. I'm in the studios.
That is exciting, though.
Yes, I'm taking you behind the scenes here. And I hear Richard and Judy walking down the corridor. So I'm now eavesdropping on R&J.
I imagine Richard is always like so on it, like he's in his character at all times.
He never turns
like
off.
He's
Richard.
always the buffoon. He's like, oh god.
You did that know he was giving life advice to Judy.
yeah, he's just non-stop talking shite.
Well, they were having something of an argument.
Oh,
yeah, and Judy. So I only could hear the tail end of the argument. And Judy said, "I'm sorry, Richard, but under no circumstances will I be doing it," and slammed the door.
Oh.
I thought, what have they been talking about here?
It'd be something you could never predict. The absolute
no
shit
way.
Madeley will come out with throughout the day.
What are his requests?
Yeah. Like, I think he would be the hardest person to live with in the world. Like literally, just battered after 5 minutes being up. Oh, Richard. You need to get out the house.
I don't think he reads any of those books either.
No. Yeah, Judy's so delighted when he's anchoring Good Morning Britain. She gets a peaceful morning. It's like, oh, it's just bliss, isn't it?
Well, all right. Thanks for doing this, fellas.
Thank you, Stephen.
This is our first video one as well. So you'll see some snippets on the Instagram page, which is Paul.
at Dodging Death Podcast.
Give the page a like while you're there. The whole thing will be on dodgingdeathpodcast.com if you want to essentially just watch us in a room chatting.
With the occasional...
You've been playing with that the whole time.
With this cable the whole time. So,
yeah.
And I've got the occasional dramatic look to the camera as well.
I might edit those out.
Which I think spices it up.
I'll cut to a different angle. So yeah, go to dodgingdeathpodcast.com. All the episodes are there, and then from now on there'll be video ones as well. So you can just watch us chat.
As long as the money lasts.
Yeah, as long as you keep listening, otherwise it's not going to sustain itself.
Because me and Ryan contribute nothing.
Yeah, this is entirely my funds.
Contribute a lot.
Well, I mean, I'm not seeing it.
Anyway, let's wrap this up. Unless you want to go back into biscuits.
Even the wagon wheels I bought.
Yeah, right.
Ferrero Rochers, my funds.
Yeah, but I shouldn't have.
We should carry on this grievance off the air.
Yeah.
Anyway, thank you for listening, everybody, and tune in. Now, I never say tune in next week. That was a weird thing too. Yeah. It became very formal at the end. I even looked at the camera.
I know.
I became Madeley.
I thought, this is odd behaviour. You see him for the camera there, I'm horrified.
Well, but part of me at the start of this, as we set this up, I thought, do we start by like shaking hands as if we're on Graham Norton?
If we could do the chair and send someone while it was flying. I feel like that's going to happen on this chair anyway, so I'm convinced he's like took a few screws out before we got here.
Oh, if only. But
I fell on
that would be our advert to the show then. Also, just before we go, when you came in, Paul, you only noticed the one camera that was pointing at me.
Yeah.
So he thought I'd hide this whole place just to get myself on camera.
Which, that wouldn't, the least surprising thing ever.
I'm more surprised that you never done that, to be totally honest.
To be fair, that's the best resolution of that camera.
Yeah, the whole will just be fully on you. They're not recording.
Yeah, the lighting is all pointed in my direction as well. Anyway, that is it. Thanks, fellas.
Thanks, Stephen.
I will see you next week.
Follow us on Instagram at Dodging Death Podcast.